So let's talk about how to absolutely ace a massive exam. We're going to break down a proven step-by-step blueprint for tackling any huge test that comes your way. And this isn't just some theory, okay? This is a practical guide built from the real-world experience of someone who totally crushed it, and we're going to see exactly how they did it.
You know that feeling, right? You crack open a syllabus that's hundreds, maybe thousands of pages long, and you just feel that knot of anxiety tighten in your stomach. Well, you are definitely not alone. But that feeling of being completely overwhelmed, it has a cure, and that cure is having a solid plan.
And here it is. This is the plan. We're going to walk through these 5 key stages together. We'll start with setting up your foundation, move into how to actually learn the stuff, practice it, and then get into the mindset you need on exam day. Each section builds on the last, creating a complete system for success. Now, what makes this plan so special? Well, it wasn't developed in some research lab. It was forged in the fire of a real academic challenge. See, this whole system comes from a student who had to pass this notoriously difficult university course called Tura 2 without, and get this, without attending most of the classes. They had to build their own system from scratch, and that's the system we're diving into today.
Okay, let's get into the first actionable phase, building your study foundation. This is all about the prep work you do before you even crack open a book. Getting this right sets you up for a much, much smoother journey.
The very first piece of advice is maybe the most important one of all. Give yourself the gift of time. Just look at this timeline. The student who came up with this plan started studying on December 27th. That gave them weeks, all the way to mid-January, just to get their material organized. That way, they could walk into the exam feeling prepared, not panicked. This is probably the single biggest thing you can do to reduce stress.
Next, you have to get your study materials organized into a really clear hierarchy, kind of like this pyramid. At the very top, the most critical level is all the official course material. That's your absolute foundation. Then, in the middle, and this part is key, is the summary that you create yourself. And at the bottom, other students' notes. You only use those to double-check your own work, not as your main source.
All right, now for the core of the work. This section is all about how you actively master the material. The goal here isn't just to memorize a bunch of facts. It's to understand them so deeply that you can start making your own connections between ideas. This slide shows a really crucial distinction. I mean, it's so tempting to just use someone else's notes, right? It feels easier. But that's passive learning. The real magic happens when you create your own summary from scratch. That's active learning. It forces your brain to actually engage, to process the information, and to truly connect the dots. It's the difference between being a spectator and actually participating in your own education.
So how do you organize all this information you're creating? Well, one of the key tools this student used was the T-chart. It's a brilliantly simple way to take 2 related ideas and just systematically compare them side by side.
And this wasn't just a casual thing. Get this, they created over 200 T-charts. 200. That might sound a little crazy, but it perfectly illustrates the level of detail you need to break down a massive, complex subject into a series of smaller, more understandable and comparable pieces.
This is all about making the material yours. Don't just rely on the examples from the textbook. The real test of whether you understand something is if you can create your own examples. That's what transforms a tangled, abstract idea into something clear and concrete that you'll actually remember. Okay, so you've organized the material and you've actively learned it. Awesome. But now it's time to practice. This next section is all about turning that deep knowledge into actual exam-ready performance.
If your exam has essays, you absolutely need a specific game plan. The student who created this method found success by first really understanding the required structure, then going straight to the professor's office hours. They had the professor read their practice essays and give direct, honest feedback. That way, they could correct their mistakes before the pressure of the real exam hit. Here's a simple but incredibly powerful technique. Practice answering questions out loud. Seriously, just talk to yourself. Hearing yourself explain a concept actually solidifies it in your memory in a totally different way than just thinking about it. Plus, it builds a ton of confidence and gets you ready for any oral parts of the exam. So we've covered the what and the how. But you know what? None of it works without the final, and maybe the most important piece of the puzzle, your mindset. This is what's going to carry you through those long hours and the really tough moments. Look, success on this scale requires a serious, consistent commitment. The student behind this plan studied for 4, 5, sometimes even 6 hours every single
day. This chart isn't here to scare you, it's here to be realistic. For a huge independent exam, consistency is everything. It's king.
And after all those hours, after all that work, this was the single most important piece of advice they shared. Because there will be moments you have doubts. There will be times you feel like it's just too much. And in those moments, this is what you have to remember. Never, 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 never get discouraged. And finally, when you walk into that exam room, you have to trust the process. As this slide says, you need to focus only on what you can control. Did you put in the hours? Did you organize the material? Did you practice? Yes, you did the work. The rest is out of your hands. So, that's the blueprint. It is demanding, there's no doubt about it, but it is proven to work. The only question left is the one you see right here on the screen. What is the first step you can take today to start building your own plan for success?